Like, of course, Transformers is a CGI fest, but he tries to go practical with what he can, though, with like explosives at least.
Driveby Movies, you're watching
Fresh releases.
My name is Blaze.
And my name is James.
And this week we're talking about Michael Bay's brand new film to theaters, Ambulance.
Ambulance is about two robbers who steal an ambulance after their heist goes crazy and wrong. So, Michael Bay movie, what can be said about Michael Bay? I mean, I can't say I've seen the classics like The Rock and The Bad Boys because I have not seen those. I've seen Transformers. You know, the first one was okay at the time. We were young when it came out. He's known for the explosive blow-up guy. I actually loved Pain and Gain, and I loved Ambulance, actually. This movie was tight. Blaze, what are your initial thoughts on it?
So I think I loved this movie for the first 30 minutes, but then I was just kind of bummed. The heist was so sick that I was bummed once the heist aspect was basically over. Yeah. Not that the rest of the movie was bad, but I was just like, dude, this heist is sick. This is gonna really it was cool. It felt like a movie that we hadn't seen for so long. Just like a kind of somewhat original heist movie. This is a remake from a Danish movie. But it's still just felt like it's been so long since we've seen something in the cinemas that wasn't, based on a superhero movie or just blockbuster tentpole film that's, based on an original property. Yes, this is a remake of a Danish film, but it's kind of not the same as a franchise movie.
Right, yeah. And overall there isn't really too much to the plot. Literally that was the shortest plot synopsis I think we've read in the history of this show, and that's literally all there is to it. It's just I think it's just a tad maybe over 2 hours or maybe just a tad under 2 hours, but it's a pretty non-stop action thriller where it's just constantly moving. And what I liked about it is there's not really a whole lot of development, but you still care for the characters. Literally the heist scene happens after 6 minutes of characterization. It's just him waking up. You see he has a son, and then that he's trying to get money for his wife who has cancer. Their health insurance isn't covering it because it's an experimental thing, and that's the plot right there. You know that he's brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal. Some people give him crap you guys aren't even related, but it's not there, it's not needed. We just know that they love each other, they care for each other, that they consider themselves true brothers, and of course that becomes a big moment towards the end of the movie too. Some of the character decisions, go a little too crazy at times, I felt but I felt like Jake Gyllenhaal, it's been a while. I think every movie he chooses is normally a great movie that I'm usually behind, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home. I couldn't really get behind that one, but with this one, I see why he took it. He was it must have been fun for him to choose, playing the bad guy, kind of. We have anti-heroes in this movie, but he's really chewing up the scenery and going crazy, and it's fun to watch him in there. And then, it was just a fun movie, I guess you can say. And Michael Bay, I loved these drone shots. There was way too many of them, but I know that just his logic was just that was so sick, we need to throw that in. That was so sick, we need to throw it in. And it was a game changer seeing what you can do with drones, and just I hope more movies are shot this way and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I really did love the photography. I don't know if it added to the film much. That was the thing. For me, I was did this actually add to the film? But then it was no, dude, it's Michael. It's Michael Bay. It doesn't really matter. Does any of his shot composition really matter? It's just nothing is thought through. It's just the more the better, I feel for him, and that's definitely the avenue he took for all this first person drone footage. Because the thing with the drones that was so different about this movie is these are like racing style drones, so the camera's on the front essentially. It's not like your typical drone shot that's almost like simulates like a helicopter or a crane.
Right.
These are like racing drones that literally are moving through the scenes and through even the actors at some points under the cars, stuff like that. It was really crazy, and it definitely made the film far more energetic than like just something like editing can do. But yeah, I thought it was cool. It just, for me, I was like, there'll probably be another director that takes this in a different avenue, but like Michael Bay is the one that just throws a bunch of it at the wall, and some of it sticks.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, he's always going for these kind of shots, and I know he also likes to go with, like, of course, Transformers is a CGI fuckfest, but you know, he tries to go practical with what he can, though, with like explosives at least, and so that was cool to see. Like, of course, like I was seeing before this movie even came out, or a trailer even came out, I was seeing TikToks of all the explosions he was doing around Los Angeles and stuff for this movie. So that was cool to see that when he was shooting during the pandemic, and it really shows that he was shooting during the pandemic, because one thing about this movie is its unrealistic portrayal of Los Angeles traffic. Like, everyone associates LA as having traffic. You cannot drive faster than 40 miles an hour on a freeway in LA, especially around like throughout the day, like this movie. Also, there were certain freeways that they were on where I was like, I don't think those freeways connect. Like the 405 and 101 are on like completely different, or not the 405 and the I forgot, the 110. Those are like on completely different sides of LA. One's on the west coast towards the beach, west side LA, and the 110's in downtown, and the most of the movie takes place in downtown. They would have to like conjoin way down in like that OC area or something. I was like, there was no way they were ever that far down. So there were like weird things like that kind of took me out of the movie. But I was just cracking up at stuff like that. And now, like, also like David Fincher, one of my favorite directors, like I remember with like Fight Club and Zodiac, he'd always get these shots where he had to go through CGI to do it, where it's like going through a chair or a glass. And after seeing this movie now, I'm like, all right, David Fincher, there's no excuse to ever do really bad CGI versions of those shots now. You have to get like these mini drones that can do it all now. Like, that's the only way to start shooting those stealth shots now.
Yeah, I mean, the drones are really small. At least I think the ones that they were using were maybe a little bit bigger because they need to house like a better camera. But the ones that I've seen like people race online, like the camera is so small. And the cool thing about it is, like, I guess the pilot is like wearing like an Oculus or some type of VR headset, so they're basically in the pilot's chair. Yeah. But a lot of them I've seen are like literally like maybe this big, like the size of like half the size of an iPhone even. So
really,
I think it differs, depends on like if you need a better camera, obviously you're going to need a little bit bigger wings to fly. But
understandable.
Yeah, a lot of them have been like, some of that I've seen were really small. I'm like, I kind of want to pick up one of those little tiny ones and just play around with it.
Yeah, of course. Like, just I bet like they were just having so much fun on the set. Like, apparently the driver of these drones is also like literally a kid. I think they were either like 19 or 20. I know they were a younger person. So that's just cool to see. Like, we're just like trying to see different ways of filmmaking. And yeah, it goes overboard. There were some very unnecessary transition scenes where it's just like, okay, that drone scene was unnecessary, but it's just cool to see at times. And you know, like, there's not so much plot wise and stuff, like we said, but it goes a long way with what it is. It's entertaining as hell, and that's what I'm sure Michael Bay set out to do. And it's a bummer that like this movie didn't do well, because this is like the death of the action movies, like the Expendables, those action heroes who, you know, got everyone to get into theaters to see them specifically kick ass. It's not a thing anymore. And like I guess like now here we are with original movies, and it's just not a thing anymore again too. But you know, I hope movies like this keep going, and they'll never die out, but just like, it's just a bummer though.
Yeah, I hate to be like the naysayer, but I do feel like the implications of this film kind of bombing at the box office is going to be the death of like original movies in a sense. I know that sounds really bleak, but for the most part, at least, like, not every original movie, but dude, if Michael Bay can make a bomb and like Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, it's just not going to be good for the majority of like movies. Yeah, that's not tied to a franchise or something. That's not tied to anything, whether, even if it's like the first entry of a proposed franchise. Because being that this is just a one-off movie, there probably wasn't really any plans for a sequel. it's not a good look. It's going to be used as a bargaining chip towards, oh, I don't want to make that because look how Ambulance did. So it's really just going to be like essentially a death note for other movies.
Yeah, it's a bummer because, it being so recent, and, a lot of people might argue it came out during the pandemic. Like, that's a reason. Yes, definitely a reason. But look, it came out in between two big Marvel movies, and those are the ones that are the huge box office winners. It's not safe anymore to make these movies, which is unfortunate. It sucks also because if Michael Bay can't get it made, then there's a lot of great directors out there that can make a movie like this and make it even better, but just, who are you compared to Michael Bay and stuff? Like, Michael Bay brought us Transformers and lots of 90s action super movies and stuff, but it's a bummer to hear, bummer to see, but I enjoyed it. I had a hell of a ride for this movie. Don't go in expecting too much. It's just a really fun movie, and I'm glad that we're, like, so far 2022, I'm enjoying what I've been watching these days. Like, I kind of went in with low expectations, and seeing this, like, was a fun time. So hopefully you'll go in, like, let us know what your thoughts about the movie is. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you thought about Ambulance.
Definitely. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all the latest updates.
And if you can't get enough of us here on YouTube, be sure to catch all our social media links down below with Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and Twitter. Anyways, guys, that'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.